We are blessed with the presence and sacred darshan of His Holiness Mahan Sai Maharaj. As we continue our journey in exploring the Hindu contributions to British society, we are now exploring faith and worship. We've heard before, when Indians or Hindus came to this country from India, from East Africa, from the West Indies, they came with little, but their most prized possession was their faith. And it was their faith that helped them rebuild their lives, for which an important part were mandirs. The very first Hindu temple to be built in the UK, or repurposed, opened in the late 1920s in Earl's Court in London. Since then, today, we see around 200 places of Hindu worship dotted around the country. That includes the first purpose-built Hindu temple, the Hindu Slough Temple, back in 1981 that opened, and then the very first traditional stone temple, where we're sitting today, created by His Holiness Pramukh Sai Maharaj, opened in 1995. But it's not the size or grandeur of these temples. It's not whether they're built from carved stone or plain concrete. It's the acts of worship that they consolidate. The way that Hindu worship is alive in each and every of these mandirs up and down the country, small or large. That's not to say we don't have beautiful, intricate mandirs around the country. We've been blessed with an array of Hindu mandirs now. For example, we've got the Sanatan Mandir on Ealing Road, just down the road in Wembley, which we are very much proud of. We have the exquisite Jain Darasar in Potter's Bar as well, that opened in 2007. And mandirs like the South Indian Temple, the Balaji Temple in Tividale near Birmingham, and new mandirs coming up all around, including the eco-friendly temple, the Kingsbury Swaminarayan Mandir, other mandirs even in progress, such as the new Jagannath Temple that we've been hearing about. All these temples have become active hubs of year-round rituals, ceremonies, and festivals. The Balaji Temple, for example, has an annual cycle of yagnas, homes, and havans, which are so integral to the life of South Indian Hindus. Janmashtami at ISKCON at Watford is an event that is not to be missed. It infuses everyone with so much devotion. It's the largest gathering of Hindus in the calendar year, as it's been called. We also have the Rath Yatra festival in the city of London. It's also a feast for our eyes and ears, not to be missed. And then there's also things like the family-friendly Holi at the Navnath Center. So whether it's Shivratri or Holi or Navratri or Diwali, the famous Ankut here at Neasden Temple, all these festivals have infused the religious landscape of Britain with the colors, sounds, and tastes of Hindu faith, with the joy and vibrancy of Hindu worship. And this contribution to an increasingly multi-faith, multicultural British society cannot be overstated. We saw testament to that in the recent coronation of His Majesty King Charles III, where leading members of the Hindu faith from ISKCON and BAPS were invited to be a part of the interfaith delegation to greet the newly coronated monarch. So in all that we do as Hindus in this country, whether it's business, education, charity, art, culture, public service, all of this is informed by our Hindu faith, the beliefs that drive behavior, the principles behind our practices, and the values that steer our work. And for that invaluable contribution, we are thankful for each and every one of you. Thank you.
Namaste everyone. Art and culture always has a purpose, something that drives it. How many of you watch Hollywood movies? Yeah? Okay, not that much, okay. it's very clear what the purpose of Hollywood movie producers are. They want to make money. That's at the heart of their art, of their culture. How many of you have seen Mona Lisa? It's not too far from here. Yeah, the beautiful painting, Leonardo da Vinci. Well, though there are many who say that at the heart of that art was love, that Leonardo was apparently in love with the model who he painted as Mona Lisa. So there's art which has money as its purpose, there's art which has love as its purpose. What is the purpose of Hindu art and culture? For thousands of years, we are the only pre-Bronze Age culture that is still alive. And at the heart of our art and culture, what drives us is always one word: dharma. Dharma drives. Thank you. If you see our art and culture for thousands of years, at the heart of it is always this one word: dharma. Dharma is often erroneously translated into religion. Dharma is actually beyond religion. Religion is just panth. Dharma is that which sustains, that which balances, that which holds. If you understand dharma, then you'll understand what drives our art. The Ramayana is apparently one of the ways to look at it. It's a love story. It's a love story between Lord Ram and Goddess Sita. If you look at love as a selfish emotion, you may not understand the Ramayana. If you understand the Ramayana is a love story at the heart of which is dharma, you'll understand the Ramayana. The Mahabharata can be seen as a war, or in fact a civil war, a war within one family. But if you understand that it's not just a war, it's a war for dharma, you'll understand the Mahabharata. And I think many of the things that the British Hindus do in the UK, at the heart of it is dharma. If you start seeing it, if you start seeing that pattern, you get inspired by what British Hindus do in art and culture. So for example, the Scottish pipe band from the Kingsbury Swaminarayan Temple performed at the Queen's Jubilee celebration. It was dharma in a way, because dharma preaches inclusion. Dharma preaches everyone should come together. If you see the Garba, which was celebrated by the Gujarati Hindu Association, indeed Hindus of all states, not just Gujaratis. I'm a UPite, I love Garba too. Garba literally translates as womb. It's a celebration of the feminine power. That is also dharma. If you see the environmental programs that are put up at the Bhavans, at the Nehru Center, that is a celebration of environmentalism, because at the heart of dharma, nature is not a resource to be exploited. It's a goddess to be worshipped. Environmentalism too is dharma. If you see all this, then you see the pattern in all the things that we do. And I would encourage all artists among you to keep driving yourself through dharma. Because remember that wonderful line from the Mahabharata, which is there as the slogan of our Supreme Court in India as well. Yato dharma tato jayaha. Where there is dharma, there is victory. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us here, Your Excellency. It's truly an honor. May we request now that you share a few inspiring words with the Assembly.
Puja Mahant Swamiji, brothers and sisters, friends, and of course, a few very special friends who have preceded me on this dais. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here at this first and most iconic Hindu temple in Europe. Built along the lines and precepts of our ancient scriptures on architecture, this is a signature building that houses not only the sense and the sensibility of the Hindu faith, but also 5,000 years of our culture. It is remarkable, and it is a sign of the way in which our communities have contributed to the history of this country to the development and prosperity of this country since its reconstruction after the last war, the Great War in the 1940s, that this temple is now an iconic center in which the faithful congregate here. It is recognized by the leadership. Lord Gadia just mentioned Prime Minister Cameron's visit here, and it is part of the larger chain of BAPS temples that have now become a central part of the international experience of Hindu culture and Hindu tradition worldwide. I also want to commend the community here in particular for the spectacular way in which they celebrated the life and teachings of Pramukh Swami Maharaj last year in Ahmedabad and in Gujarat. The success of that event was a perfect example of Shraddha, of devotion, of dedication, and of the deep commitment that our community here in the UK has made part of its signature in this country and across the world. It is a matter of great pride for all of us, and I wish to congratulate you most warmly for that. Today, friends, in the presence of Puja Mahant Swami Maharaj, we are commemorating the role and services of the British Hindu community among a number of community leaders across various parts of our faith groups here in the United Kingdom. I think that is in itself a remarkable contribution that BAPS has provided to the sense of our times and the need of our times. Enough has already been said before me by my good friend Manoj, by Amish, and of course by Lord Gadia and by all the speakers here about the contributions of this community to the United Kingdom, to India, indeed to the world, and of course our larger message, our philosophical message to the world. What I want to do in the few minutes that I have before me is to set a few questions before this august audience and ask if, looking ahead, what best can we do to take forward our message and to take forward a better sense of community in this country, and maybe then make that an exemplar for our emigre communities worldwide. We are, of course, a nation of diversity. India, I mean, in this particular case, since we're sitting in the UK. Our diversity has long been seen as our weakness. It isn't. It is our strength. It is the essence of the Hindu way. We know, of course, from the Rig Veda, Ekam Sat Vipraha Bahuda Vidanti, that our way, our message, and our path is to recognize that while the truth is universal, the paths to it can be multiple. Ours, therefore, is not tolerance, because tolerance suggests a limited ability to deal with each other. You barely tolerate somebody, right? Ours is inclusion. Ours is based on the fundamental understanding that when I say namaste, I honor, I respect, I venerate you. Which other faith says that? This is a unique example of how we believe that the divinity exists in every one of us, and that life itself is a spark of the divine. If this is indeed our way, then, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, why must we not look at our common human experience as an opportunity to create common communities, common service, and a common message for all of us? We can do it because we have 5,000 years of philosophical experience to lead us in that direction. We can do this because our message is one that is universal. It is at the heart of every religious truth. And it is a message that is more needed today than it has ever been elsewhere in the world. And yet, friends, we somehow do not manage to get that message across. It isn't just in the narrative, although Lord Gadia is right, the narrative is a problem. It is also in our willingness to let incorrect narratives, downright unfair characterizations of our history, of our culture, of our way, of our current civilization, of our civilizational ideals, to pass by us saying this too shall pass. Sure, it will pass. It makes no difference. The caravan of Hindu civilization has continued for 5,000 years, and it will, I dare say, continue for 5,000 more without any worries in that regard. What is relevant, however, ladies and gentlemen, is the question that we must ask ourselves. Are we willing to let the sense of what we have to offer the world pass us by? Or are we keen to make this the moment when we actually start making our offering better known? We can do this through our many mandirs, through our many societies, through our many cultural expressions, through our many languages, but we should do it with a sense of the unity of purpose. Lord Gadia just talked about the golden thread that binds us all. And that golden thread, friends, is the one that we must make more visible. If that thread that connects our history and our philosophy is covered under layers of our own protection, so to speak, then our message and the value that we, I do believe, offer to the rest of the world is going to be lost. Why am I saying this to you on this special occasion today? I think it is important that while we celebrate our successes, and our successes are important and valid, our successes are already behind us. These are successes that you already know of. What then is your message for the future? What is the message that you would want the young ones in our audience to take forward? It needs to be a message where we can learn from other communities on how well they have mobilized themselves, and I don't mean for political purposes alone. That is a limited and, in my view, a comparatively ignoble thought. But mobilize for the larger good of humanity. The BAPS tradition has shown us that wider humanity can be served through one group of people. In war, in times of war, in times of humanitarian distress, we have stepped up and we have been able to help. Now, take aside the moments of war and distress and see, can we not showcase what it means to be British Hindus by organizing in favor of a more harmonious understanding of our society, a more harmonious understanding of India in all its complexities, a more harmonious understanding of what the true history of Indic civilization is, and how inherently in our DNA, in our cultural DNA, inclusion is part of it. That message is a powerful message, ladies and gentlemen, and it is a message that is essential for our young people to particularly take forward. We should not let our young people feel at any point of time that our history and our culture and our message is any less. Indeed, it is one that includes everything that is described to us as a special experience. Every part of that is included in our civilizational history. So celebrating the totality of this, and I will end with this point, is necessarily something that requires all of us to stand together. That, ladies and gentlemen, while we celebrate our diversity, let us also find the inner unity, the inner antaratma that connects all of us, that inner spark of light that fires every one of our souls. Most importantly, that golden thread that connects each and every one of us. We celebrate that, we get that right, we serve the larger purpose of our civilization and all of humankind. In that, ladies and gentlemen, lies the true essence of what we can provide the world. That, in my view, is our example. That ought to be our mission. That certainly is our commitment at the High Commission to work with all of you. Thank you very much, and Jai Swaminarayan.